Welcome to Infringe at Your Own Risk.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Infringe at Your Own Risk with Rand Bateman. Rand is a registered patent attorney with decades of experience protecting patents, trademarks, and copyrights for clients from startups to international companies. My name's Sean O'Connor, and today Rand and I are talking about trademark trickery and scams. You know, the letters, the emails, solicitations that, they might look official, but often aren't, and what you should be looking for before responding. Rand, how are you?
I'm doing well, Sean. How are you?
I am doing all right. I'm looking forward to this episode. I mean, scams happen in all sorts of places these days, but certainly in your world, the stakes are a little bit higher. What do we want to get into? Solicitation letters. What's a good place to start today?
Yeah, so there's a number of different things that trademark applicants are getting caught up in. Some are formally scams. They're deceptive and misleading. Others are just confusing to people, but all of them cost people money. And so I thought today would be a good day to just walk through some of the most common ones.
Oh,
I will name names and show documents because I think it's important that people understand what they're getting. I routinely get calls from clients who say, because I tell my clients immediately, if you get anything from anybody asking you to pay a fee, contact me before you pay. So I get contacted routinely about it.
yeah. Well, to be clear, this is like I feel like this sort of thing happens around tax time. Suddenly you're hearing from the IRS, right? Which the IRS does not call,
Right.
But I'm thinking, in just for context here, this would be probably I've filed some paperwork, legitimate paperwork with the trademark office, and that suddenly then I start to get some scam correspondence potentially because they have access to the public records or something.
Exactly.
Okay.
And they've got, they know what your trademark is and they can make it sound like all sorts of things. So let's go through some of the most common ones out there. And, if anybody has more that I'm unaware of, please, add a comment, when this is posted online, try and keep people aware of these. So the first one we're going to talk about is from the World Trademark Register. And this is a paper that you get in the mail, and it says, here's your trademark, here's the information, and the registration fee is $980. Okay, well, what does the $980 get you? It gets you registered on their register.
Right.
Okay, there's no legal significance to it. If you want to send me $1,000, I will put your name on my website. Doesn't really get you anything, and they, they get out of trouble by, if you read the fine print down here, it tells you that this is not a bill, it's a solicitation. You're not obligated to pay the amount stated above. The problem is very few people read all of that, and so they get this. And they say, oh my gosh, I've got to pay $980 more. Why didn't Rand tell me this was so expensive to get my trademark? This has no bearing on you getting your trademark registration with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. And unless there's some innovative idea out there I'm unaware of, there's no legal benefit to doing this, except your trademark is registered somewhere else.
But that is I must say, legitimate might be the wrong word, but that is an actual company. They probably World Trademark Registry. They probably have a website or something, right? But it's not a government entity.
No, yeah, and they say specifically they're not associated with any government agency. But people think that, this is something, and this is one of the lesser confusing or deceptive ones that we're going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the next one is from a group that calls themselves Patent and Trademark Office. Gee, who could get confused with that?
Yeah, no.
And they send this lovely little mailing that says, pending trademark cancellation. That sounds serious. My trademark's going to get canceled. And this one is for one of my clients. They sent them that the application was registered back in March 29, 2022. And so they sent them this and said, renewal date, March 29, 2026. Well, that's deceptive because in a trademark, once you get your trademark registered, you have to file renewal documents. It's not formally a renewal. It's called a Section 8, showing that you're still using the mark. But that's due 6 years after your registration date. So the deadline for doing that is March 29th, 2028. And the first day you can do it is March 29th of 2027. But this one says, hey, pending cancellation. And what do they want? All they want is $1,250. Okay. Well, who knows if they're actually going to file it, because they're getting your money 2 years before the deadline. But even if they do, when you get these, the amount they're charging tends to be substantially higher than your local trademark attorney would charge you to do the same thing. So
Interesting.
Be careful about that.
I mean, like you said, you want to protect, you've already invested, you want to protect the trademark, you get some official looking notice. And yeah, of course, you got to renew, right? People, like you said, they don't read it necessarily. They're like, okay, makes sense. I know there is a renewal window.
Right.
I'm curious what the actual renewal fee would be.
Well, it would depend. At the time this was sent, I think it would be like $900, $950. So they're charging us, several $100 more. If the thing that bugs me the most is when it's Patent and Trademark Office on the top, because that's really confusingly similar with the United States Patent and Trademark Office, I think. And then misrepresenting the date that needs to happen. What would normally happen if you used an attorney is about a year before your mark is due for the Section 8 declaration, you'll get a letter that says, hey, the window is opening on this date, and you have 1 year during that window to pay this fee to the Patent and Trademark Office. The thing is, they send this early enough that you're not going to hear from your attorney. So you're going to go with them. If they said the regular dates and sent it about the same time, then you could see, oh, I got this notice from my attorney. I got this note from these other guys. These must be, other people trying to get my work. But a lot of people, when they get this, they think they actually got something from the Patent and Trademark Office, the real Patent and Trademark Office. And so they're concerned, and especially if they didn't respond right away. It's that, a lot of people don't open their mail as often as they used to. And then they call all stressed out. Hey, I missed this March 29th deadline. Am I in trouble? And you're like, yeah, it's March 29th, 2 years from now. So you're fine. So that one, be careful of.
You said too, Ren, that like, who knows if they actually file it? So, I mean, or pay it, right? So theoretically, that organization may in fact pay the renewal into the official office on behalf of your client, but you wouldn't necessarily know, or is that never the case?
It could be. I would be surprised if this is legit. I would be surprised that the Patent and Trademark Office doesn't deal with the trademark attorneys who are marketing this, because it's clearly deceptive, which would violate the ethics rules of the Patent and Trademark Office.
Right.
Okay.
Interesting.
The next one we get is from North American Trademark Publications. And this is like the first one. And this one, but it's apparently it's a higher class listing of your trademark in their publication, because it's $1,320. And for that, if you read the very fine print, it says that they will, it says, this is not an invoice. You're not required to pay the above amount unless you accept the offer.
So again, the solicitation.
Yeah, it's a solicitation to basically put your name in their publication. And if you really want to do that, go ahead, but just know what you're paying for. No benefit to doing this as far as getting your trademark registered or whatnot. And I've never seen any court case that's cited to one of these to encourage that. Here is
it is ironic, the infringing on the the trademarks of the trademark office, so to speak, with some of the
And you would expect them to be a little bit more vigorous in going after people. Because you go to some of these people and say, hey, you're using a name that's confusingly similar, isn't it? If it's a real attorney who's actually doing the work, either you stop doing this or we're not going to let you file stuff with the trademark office anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
Yeah.
they've got some leverage, and they like people to report the scams. I really wish they were more vigorous in going after people. Okay, the next one is something that's very similar. This is for the renewals. This is for a 9th and 10th year renewal. This comes from Patent and Trademark Bureau as opposed to Office. And they are offering, they say your registration's about to expire. Again, it's early. They put the renewal date 1 year out from the deadline, and they offered to do the renewal fee for $1,650. And this was several years ago. The current fee is about $1,150.
Wow.
So 5-6 at the time. This was probably $600 to $700 more than the average local trademark attorney would charge you for the same service.
And interesting, when you're looking at that document, Rand, the information about, when my trademark was registered, that's accurate. It sounds like, correct?
Yeah, that one's accurate. It's just the renewal date isn't accurate. They put it 1 year forward.
As a layman, I'm perhaps not aware of like the window of renewal.
Right.
Wait, that sounds like the right date when we registered this thing. Like that's probably more in my head. It's like, oh, okay, this looks and sounds accurate. They've got accurate information. So it's doubly deceiving or convincing.
Yeah, and if you knew the law, you could go through this and say, okay, it's between the 9th and 10th years, and the 10th year is actually the 23rd or 2023, not 2022, but still same idea. It's confusing, and people get confused about it all the time. Now we get into the really meaty stuff.
Ooh.
So this comes from a case that somebody filed. They've found someplace online who is going to do a very inexpensive trademark registration for them. So they thought. They filed the trademark application. The people who filed signed the name of the client directly without the client signing it, which likely invalidates the registration anyway. But then they send this, which purports to be an office action from the Patent and Trademark Office. This is not what an office action looks like from the Patent and Trademark Office. But notice they use the seal of the PTO.
Yeah.
They
How would
use
I
the
know?
header.
I wouldn't know. Yeah.
You wouldn't know. And what they do is they say, hey, you've got this office action you've got to respond to, and you have to pay these standard maintenance fees. And the standard maintenance fees for 5 years is $4,100, and for 10 years it's $5,300. Okay. That is a made up BS charge. And very rarely will you get an office action from the Patent and Trademark Office that requires any additional fees. The only time is if you filed and didn't pay the correct fees, and then it's usually $100 or $200.
Right.
It's not this huge amount. And
What
then
is
they
an
say,
office
oh, well, that's
action?
for the work going forward. Well, the work going forward, you don't know what's going to happen going forward, but it's very rare. I mean, for the amount that they're quoting here, you could, using a regular trademark attorney, typically take the mark, get it registered, file the 8 and 15 at 6 years, and file the renewal registration at 10 years, which would basically keep your mark for 20 years for $1,000 or $2,000 less than what they're asking for here. And you wouldn't pay for it all at one time. You would pay for it over a period of 10 years. Yeah. So, and the language they have down here, they say a 2D rejection, which is a likelihood of confusion. But they don't tell you what marks it's likely to be confused with. And then a bunch of the stuff down here is just gobbledygook. They've taken sentences from the trademark laws and just dropped them in place, but they don't relate to each other. So it's nonsense. So whoever wrote this doesn't get trademark law at all.
It sounds like early AI.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I've had a couple of clients get these type of things, and then they call and get threatened. One couple spent $150,000 dealing with people like this. They just kept demanding money, and they kept paying for it because they said they got scared of them. But if you get anything like this, with all of these, please call a trademark attorney. Right? They will tell you very quickly. They can tell you if something is legitimately from the USPTO or not.
Yeah. Are there things, speaking of that, I'm a business and I receive a notice. How do I know that it is genuinely from the USPTO? Is there just a telltale something I should be looking for?
Well, the first thing is check the URL where it's coming from. If it's not from uspto.gov, it's not from the PTO, unless it's from your attorney, right? And I just tell my clients, look, if you get anything asking for money related to your trademark, please call me first. I won't bill you for the call, but I've had numerous times where clients are like, do I have to pay this? It's $1,300. No, you don't have to pay it. Just shred it. So it's very important that we don't do it with that. Okay, here's another one.
Oh, you got another? Okay.
This is a new one. And this one comes after somebody's mark has been canceled. And so it's been canceled, and they say, hey, do you want to refile your mark or revive your mark? And you can contact us. And then they also say, well, adherents, please sign this owner certificate. And again, they've got the seal on there. That's the header from a trademark registration, this part that they've pieced together. But the funny thing is if you want to keep your mark, sign this. But whoever wrote it, it says, by signing this certificate, I declare that I am no longer pursuing the use, maintenance, or registration of the trademark.
So
you're signing something that says you're abandoning it.
Yeah.
Which, if you wanted to revive it, this is completely nonsensical because you're saying you're not. The other beautiful thing is this lovely seal that is copied. That's the PTO seal that goes on a trademark. And that is the signature of the former head of the United States Patent and Trademark Office, Catherine Vidal, which would make that forgery.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that she did not sign this document. And that's punishable anywhere from 1 to 7 years in federal prison or state prison, depending. So that's one, please watch out for. That's not. And then I've got two others, but they're kind of the same idea as the other one. Send us $1,580 or send us $1,460. And we will publish the name of your trademark and the relevant information on our publication. And the same idea. They're trying to get your money. So please contact your trademark attorney. If you don't have one, if you're doing it solo, pick up the phone. Most of them will answer it for you gratis. Just because we're so sick of people getting scammed and misled and paying money to people who there's no need to pay.
And, in my conversations with attorneys who often, not necessarily in your specific specialty, where they lament the fact that it ends up costing more for their clients to undo things that, had they had a proper, counsel, they wouldn't have made the mistakes. But this is a little different in that you can't really undo it. I mean, right? It's just basically a cash grab by these companies, it sounds like.
Well, and some of them, online, they hop online and say, oh, I can get a really cheap trademark registration with this company online. And I had a client who filed that way before they were represented by me. And then they came to me because the Patent and Trademark Office figured out that he had not signed the application. Somebody else had signed who is not an attorney. Right. Well, that suspended his mark. It was suspended for about 2.5 years. And then the Trademark Office said, no, application is void. So now he's 2.5 years down the road without the trademark registration he'd wanted. He spent as much on me trying to get the Trademark Office to make a decision as it would have cost just to file it with an attorney in the first place, and he would have a trademark registration right now. Instead, he's got to start the entire process over, and he's out all that additional money. So, just please be very careful of anything offering a really cheap trademark or offering to publish your mark somewhere where it doesn't mean anything.
No. Oh, that's great. Great advice. That's why we're here. Well, listen, we're up against time, Rand. I know we'll get into some other issues in future episodes. It's great to talk to you.
Great talking to you.
That's it for today's episode of Infringe at Your Own Risk. If you've received a suspicious trademark notice or solicitation, or heck, if you've received any sort of trademark notice or solicitation, it's always worth taking a closer look before responding. To connect with Rand and his team, visit the website batemanip.com. And don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who you think might benefit. I'm Sean O'Connor. Have a great day.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.